Welcome to my channel, Purposeful Play, where I talk about all things early childhood education. I'm Danielle, and today I want to talk about families and what you can do to partner with families and why it's so important to involve them in their child's education. So let's get started. I have not recorded a video in like a year and a half. But something was said a couple of weeks ago in one of the trainings I was doing, and I thought, oh, maybe I should record a video on that. So that's why I'm recording this video on family partnership. I wrote some things down, so I might look down to just refer to my notes occasionally because I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. So why is it so important to partner with families? Well, there is research that says that children whose families, the adults in their family, and I try not to say parents because we know that it's not always a mom and a dad. So that's why I tend to say families. So there is research that says that children whose families are involved in whatever way they can in their education, that they will do better academically. They have a higher graduation rate and really just overall skills in all areas of development learning, especially social emotional, are higher. Those skills are higher. So of course we want to partner with families because we know that it's good for everybody. I think the big thing to think about and start with is building those relationships. What can you do at the beginning of the school year and throughout the year to build relationships, not just with the children that you're working with, but their families? What does that first meeting look like? Do you have a back to school night? Do you have a meet and greet? Do you have time for one-on-ones? Do you do home visits? Think about how you can have that just first meeting with families. When I was teaching, especially in Colorado, our school did a back to school night or a meet the teacher night. Children came to the classrooms, families came, and there was a window of time for names A to M and then N to Z. And they would be able to come during those times to meet their teachers, drop off any school supplies. But I had 40 some odd students during that time. And there were times when I actually did not get to even see every child in every family because it was just, it was chaos. I had families coming in right at the very beginning of the time slot, and of course throughout, but a lot of them came first thing. I had some children that just popped in from the previous years to say hello. So I didn't like that way of doing a meet and greet. I would love to do a one-on-one with families, even if it's just a quick 20 minutes to just get to know them. There's some important questions that I think we need to ask families. I actually created a questionnaire for families to fill out. I'll put it in the link down below. It asks those basic questions that are important to know the information. You could ask them in person. If you're lucky enough to meet with them in person, that would be great. But some of the things that I asked were, of course, names, nicknames, holidays and traditions that were celebrated at home, any languages the child heard or spoke at home, child's interests, children's strengths, like what is your child good at, where does your child need support or how does your child need support, siblings and pets, their preferred method of contact, any goals you would like your child to achieve that year. How did I word that? How would you like to see your child grow? And then I had a section on if the families had any hobbies, careers, interests that they would be willing to share with the children, and then a little section for anything else. And I think it would be great if you could ask families those questions in person, because then you can get that information from them. You can ask clarifying questions. But anyways, important first meeting is really important. I also like to take a family photo if possible, so that you have that before the school day, beginning of the year, and you can post those around your classroom. So a family photo, if they are okay with that, would be great on that first meeting. So the year starts, everybody's getting into their routines and the swing of school. How to involve families in the school. If they're coming into the classroom, what can they do to support you and support children's learning? Of course, one way they can do is they can play with the children. Put them in those interest areas during choice time and have them play. Post those open-ended questions close to the interest areas and point those out to family members and say, hey, when you're playing with the children in this area, I've got these, open-ended questions, they might be, something you have a look at to help you when you're interacting with children. So it's not just the same old, how many and what color. Have families read books with the children, whether it's in a small group during choice time, an actual small group activity, or sharing a book during a large group read aloud. Like I said in that questionnaire, family members could come in and be a guest speaker. So maybe they're sharing what their career is, maybe they're sharing something about their holidays and traditions, any interest that they have, hobbies, strengths, those kinds of things, depending on what you guys are learning about. Have them come in and be a guest speaker. If they can't come into the classroom, can they record a video or Zoom so that they can still be that expert? I love to have them actively engaging with children. All right, what can families do at home? Not all families can come into the classroom, so what is something that they can do at home or from home? Can families provide materials that will enhance whatever you're learning about? Not purchasing them and donating them, but just borrowing them for a little bit of time. Do they have anything that you need that you could borrow for 1, 2, 3, however many weeks that you need it? And when those materials come to the classroom, the children are really more interested in the things that are from their homes than anything that you could purchase. What kind of play-based activities can you offer to families that they can do at home? Think about some things that you do in your classroom that require little basic materials or no materials at all that you could send home the instructions to families on how to do that activity at home. Because not all grown-ups know how to play with their children, especially in a meaningful, engaging educational kind of way. The last thing you can do to help families at home is you can educate them. So when you're sending home these play-based activities, make a note of why it's important to be doing this and how is that going to develop their relationship or strengthen their family relationship. You could possibly hold evening sessions and talk about the importance of reading to your child or skills to develop social emotional or tips to develop social emotional skills. Whatever topic you think might be useful to families, is there something you could do to educate them in a seminar or workshop kind of setting? Ask families also how they want to communicate with you, what they feel will work best for them, but make sure that you're just using a variety of ways to communicate. Of course, the best way is that face-to-face, but sometimes when children are coming on the bus and going home on the bus, you don't ever get to have that face-to-face time with families. So think about the times when you can have that contact so you can really talk one-on-one with how their child's doing in the classroom. You could also send home newsletters, emails, updates on those apps or platforms like Class Dojo, Seesaw, whatever you choose to use. You can send those kinds of things digitally. The only problem with those, maybe not all of them, but they're not a back and forth kind of thing. Yes, you can respond to emails, newsletters, they go out. Most often you don't get a response back, but think about those times when you can have that back and forth contact. And don't forget to send those messages, whether it's a phone call or an email, telling those families a funny story, something their child said, something that was a great accomplishment for their child, or just saying some happy thoughts about their child. And of course, conferences, having those times throughout the year, however many times you're going to be doing it for family conferences, just don't use that as a time to bring up any challenges that you have been facing. Those should be addressed well before conferences. Conferences is a great time to really talk about the child's strengths. It's a time to celebrate what they have accomplished and what they have learned, and also set those goals. So what are those opportunities for growth? Communication, partnering with families should always be focused on the child's learning and development. That's the number one thing that you guys are working as a partner supporting their child to develop and learn. And last point is just remember that families are doing the best they can. We have to remember that families are very busy, they're very focused on other things. So just like we think about us as teachers that we're doing the best we can, remember that families are doing the best they can. And they just want what's best for their child. And they want their child to grow and learn and develop. And they will support in whatever way they can. Not all family members are going to be able to be actively involved. Not all family members are going to have that communication, open communication, as much as you would hope and want, but they will do what they can. That's all I wanted to share about family partnership. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was on my mind because there was a teacher that was complaining about a family member that never opened the folder for the entire year. They just didn't care. And I was like, oh, I don't think it's that they don't care. It's that maybe there is a barrier that is preventing them. Something's preventing them from getting to that folder. And that is why I wanted to record the video. So thanks for watching and have a happy day.